Welcome to World Energy Television, and today we have the opportunity to speak once again with Curtis Burton, CEO of Buccaneer Energy. Well, it's been a while since you and I have had a chance to have a discussion. Seems you guys were pretty quiet during 2012, but 2013 seems to be off to a great start. So what have you been up to?
Well, it may seem like a quiet year to you, anything but that from where I sit. We started the year out, as many people were well aware, with big plans to do a lot of drilling last year. That didn't happen. A lot of folks have been focused on the fact that it didn't happen, but not so much on the why.
Okay. Well, let's go into the why.
In April, after a tremendous amount of work and lots of assurances that our major funder was going to stay with us and work with us throughout the next several years, they unceremoniously and unexpectedly decided to exit the market.
Nice. So what did that mean?
That meant that Dean and I had to drop everything we were doing and get out and work on the capital side of things because we were literally given no warning and no leeway.
Well, you're still here, so you must have found a solution.
We did manage to not only find a short-term funder in 45 days, but then we found Victory Park, brought them in on a 3-year program for a much higher amount of money. But again, that took an enormous amount of our time and effort last year when we would have liked to have been drilling, but we didn't have the capital to go do that.
Well, that doesn't sound pleasant at all. But why weren't you at the AGM?
I was in Houston having open heart surgery, and that was a unexpected event as well. Happily, that's behind us. It was a major issue, but it was something that was rectified with some rapid surgery and a bit of a tweak. I'm 100% back to functional. In fact, I got out of the hospital on a Friday, walked a mile Monday morning, and was back in the office on Wednesday of that same week. So it did slow us down because that's a pretty major event, but we did manage to still escort our shareholders to Alaska and do some things that had to be done at the end of the year. And so we had a very busy year last year.
Okay, so a major illander leaves. You go in for open heart surgery. But obviously the business moves on. I mean, some positive things did happen in 2012. Maybe you can share those with us.
When we started the year, we had an average monthly income of about $120K a month. By the end of the year, that had gone up by a factor of 6.
And it continues to go up, right?
With what we've just completed, that is tremendously increased again. We are now at about a $20 million a year annual cash flow rate, and we have had, as evidenced by just this past week, we made an announcement on our gas reserves where those reserves are up 98%.
Okay, well that's pretty good. What else?
Added to all of that, you've had both the offshore rig moved to Alaska, and as of today, moving out onto location. That's a major event in our life, and we've had the land rig drilling now for almost a year. So all of these things are major events for us, and we're headed towards even bigger things in this next year.
And don't forget, brand new website.
And a brand new website where we're going to be doing monthly updates on some things that I think are important for us to be talking about.
Now that we're into 2013, tell me what kind of numbers you guys are putting on the board.
Just in the last few days, we have gotten all of the plumbing hooked up. We had been producing KO4 on a temporary skid, and we got it hooked into the permanent system, and I believe as of yesterday we were running at about 10 million cubic feet a day between the two wells. Both of the wells have capacity beyond that, but as we've relayed to the marketplace in the past, the plan was to ramp them up gradually over time, and so we still have probably another 1.5 million cubic feet a day we'll be putting into the system here in the near term, but right now 10 million a day is more than we've ever produced before.
Well, I think people have to realize the significance of that. How does the Alaskan gas market differ from the market in the lower 48?
Typically, lower 48, right, about $3.40, $3.80, depending on the day. Our announced floor prices are about $6.24. We have a very high net back position there because of the way those contracts are done, something north of 80%. So you're in a good environment. You're in an environment, in fact, we've actually been producing and selling gas to some of the other oil companies up there who don't have enough gas in their system to run their wells. And that will continue to be part of what we're doing throughout the course of this next year, we believe.
And you've been living in the world of ACs. So what kind of effect has that had?
We've now been at this for a couple of years, and we recover, if we file for a refund under ACES, we recover typically 99.96% of everything that we file for. That tells you that we know a lot about how to do that. We've had some experience at it, and by virtue that we've recovered over $20 million already, it is a real ongoing incentive to be in that basin.
Well, it seems you're moving Kenai Loop along very quickly, as we've said. But as I recall, in 2012, you had plans to drill offshore. And the Endeavour arrived in August of 2012 with great fanfare. And to my knowledge, it only just left the dock. So what happened?
Unfortunately, we've also had to deal with contractors that were paid to do jobs that, as the litigation, I'm not going to go into that, but as the litigation will point out, we believe badly let us down in terms of doing what they were paid to do. And ultimately that will be resolved in court. But in the meantime, we've gone in, we've fixed all the things that had been an issue with the Endeavour. We fixed even a number of things that had been signed off on by some of the regulatory people in Singapore that when they got to Alaska, they said, no, we won't honor what we said. So we've dealt with all of those upsets.
And now it's left the dock.
That's true, Richard. It did just leave the dock, and we're excited about that. It's on the route to its first drilling operation in Alaska, and we are all excited about that because that drilling operation is going to form a backstop or a bookend, if you will, with Kenai and our land drilling on one side and a successful offshore drilling program on the other side from that rig.
All right. You've got the rigs. Financing appears to be more stable. You've got a new website. But recently I saw a presentation which showed you were going to do 3 offshore wells and 4 land wells. That's 7 wells in 2013. Is that doable?
Is 7 realizable? Certainly. Are there things that can happen to change that? Absolutely. Do we believe that that's going to be the case right now? No. We are moving ahead with our plans, and we've laid all of the track, but things can happen.
Okay. Any final thoughts?
Well, I would say that as we look forward at 2013, we already have started off the year with a bang in terms of doubling our production rate, getting our gas prices up from where they were even, which were pretty stellar, $6.23 a thousand to some of the gas is now going at $6.80 a thousand per the press release. That's the first of a number of things to come. We've in doubling the production there, that's putting us into a mode where we've got more cash flow available to us. Hopefully we'll be spudding another Kenai Loop well in the near term here. We've just moved the Endeavour on site to begin drilling operations at Cosmopolitan. What that means is that we potentially can have production out of Cosmopolitan. And last but not least, we have multiple other opportunities that we are pursuing in the peninsula as well. So the foundation work that we laid last year is really about to begin to pay off for us in Alaska.
Sounds like it's going to be a very exciting year.
I think so.
As always, I really appreciate your time today. For World Energy Television, I'm Richard Loomis, and thank you very much for watching.